how you might have some regret about not finishing your dissertation in 2023 and what you can do to set yourself up for 2024. Because did you happen to make a promise to yourself to finish in 2023? And now we're over the start of the new year, you're just kicking yourself because you didn't finish. This is why in this episode, I want to talk about how to recalibrate and get things back on track so that you can finish your dissertation in 2024. It's so good to see you all. I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, host of From ABD to PhD show and founder of Done Dissertation, where we help doctoral students write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. This episode of From ABD to PhD show is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. The goal of our Velocity Coaching Program is to help you over the course of the next year, depending on where you are in your process or less, finish your dissertation so that you can go on to do the amazing things that you wanted to do with this doctoral degree. So if you're someone looking for help and realizing, hey, I want to get this thing done, I'm just not quite sure how, I would welcome you to visit www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about the program and to apply. And if you're watching this live, you can just scan the QR code that is here on your screen, or if you're watching this on the replay as well. And then for my folks who are watching live, you can, for me, just drop the link in the chat so people have the link and can access it in the chat and comments. I really would appreciate that. And so what I want to do is get into today's episode because, you know, we've talked with our clients over the past year. We've seen so many folks finish, right? And I know 2024, for many of you all watching this, is like, this is my year. And so I want to talk about some things that might start holding you back so we can get ahead of them, because I know we don't want to have regret in 2024 that we had in 2023. And so there's 3 steps, if you will, and 3 strategies I want to give you that will help you to get over the regret of not finishing in 2023. First and foremost, what I want you all to realize is that the first way to get over regret of not finishing in 2023 is to go ahead and have all the emotions. Like, look, we are humans. It's okay to be disappointed that you didn't end 2023 the way that you wanted it to. I want you to be able to sit and feel that, right? However, don't just sit with that by yourself. Talk to someone. Talk to a therapist. You may need to talk to a friend. Talk to someone so you can get those ideas out of your head. Talk to your spouse. Talk to someone where you can let go of that regret so that once you're able to get rid of it and you can make the case that, all right, I've let that go, I'm ready to move on and do great things. Because one thing I've learned about the doctoral process, because it's so mentally draining, if we're holding on to a lot of things that happened wrong with us as a part of the journey from last year, we take last year's baggage into this year, it makes the process so much more difficult. And with that, we don't want you all to get tripped up, because we know it. A lot of our folks who don't finish quickly, sometimes it's about the mental aspect that just holds them up, not necessarily the actual writing and the doing of the work. And I want you to consider, like, once you be able to talk through this, like, don't sit in those feelings forever, because we recognize that you can actually turn that energy that might feel like sad energy for you because you're just distraught about not finishing into the energy you need to have the momentum to finish your dissertation. Oftentimes I say turn that energy into the fire that you need to finish and propel yourself forward. I promise you, like, having that bit of energy and recognizing that this might be a setback, but it's not the final outcome, will relieve you. And then you're able to then get back to writing, open that laptop, look at that feedback from your chair and recognize, like, oh my God, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. And this is the opportunity right now at the start of the year to do that, especially when the semesters might not have started. You might have another week or 2 before things get going. Like, now's the time to really get that momentum and pick up that pace so that when faculty come back, you're ready to hit the ground running with your dissertation and get back in touch with your chair. But being able to get out of those feelings of the regret are going to be the first component of being able to get over it in the first place. We find that is really, really important. Second is, like, and if you're trying to get over the regret, again, from not finishing your dissertation in 2023, what I want you to do is then take an actual assessment of what were the barriers that held you back in 2023. You know, in order to do something different this year, you have to really recognize what happened last year, because we don't want history to repeat itself. So for some of you, it might just be you recognize that in 2023, there were a lot of family and work obligations that really held you back from finishing. And so now once you identify it, then it's like, well, what can I do differently? So let's say, for instance, one example we see from a lot of our clients who have children is that sometimes they were going and attending a lot of events for the kids, right? And so while we want to be active as parents, I'm a parent, so I get that completely. But sometimes what you have to recognize as part of this dissertation journey is that maybe your new setup for 2024 might be, hey, I'm going to attend the events, but at times, especially practices, I'm going to have my laptop available and with me so that I can get work done while my child is doing whatever activity it is. Like I know sometimes my little one goes to gymnastics. It's like an hour that they are occupied doing gymnastics. I can get stuff done. That is something we have to be mindful of and take advantage of if you're trying to finish quickly. It may feel like you're being selfish, right? And it is selfish, but recognize that finishing the dissertation, once you are done forever. Unless you're the overachiever that's going to write another dissertation, you're not having to come back to this thing again. So why not put the time in now to get the result that you want out of it? And so what you might have to do, and if this is your situation, you might have to then have conversations with your family about getting the help and support that you need in order to finish this dissertation. And that way, while you're being selfish, you have the infrastructure that you need in place to really help move things along for you. And we've seen it happen over and over again. If you go back and listen to Dr. Terrace Watson's interview, she's one of our former clients, and she talked about her journey navigating the dissertation process, actually going through cancer treatment. Like she had to put a system in place to be selfish for the time, but also have these other pieces so that she can stay, physically healthy and also mentally healthy as well. And for some of you all, it might not be the family, right? It might be, hey, in 2023, I didn't meet with my chair consistently. It might have been the barrier for you might have been like, hey, I set a deadline, but I didn't hold true to it. You need to write out whatever these barriers are. And I want you to start developing the reasons and developing the solutions that you will put in place in 2024 in order to finish. Because once you have these things written down and you can kind of reflect on what happened, then you can create a plan to address it. And if you're someone that says, oh, I can't figure it out and I'm not sure exactly what happened last year, talk to your family and friends. They know because they watched you go through it. So they probably have their own suggestions for you based on what they saw you go through about some of the barriers that might have been in your way. Or even ask your chair, this might be an opportunity to, reconnect with your chair and like take the opportunity to really dive deep into what was holding you back and then set yourself up for success. This is the only way we do that. We have to really, really take hold of this process because it's hard enough trying to do this work, right? But if you are not having a plan in place and not understanding what those barriers are, they will just continue to pop up and history will indeed repeat itself and you won't finish in 2024. We've seen it happen a lot of times. We've seen folks come to us, 2 years after saying, no, we don't work with you all right now. And they come back and the next thing you know, they recognize, once I got into an environment, once I got into a system, that was the way I was able to finish because I needed that structure and support. And so, if you're like that and need that support, this is why this episode is sponsored by our Velocity Coaching Program, because we want to help you all who might need that extra bit of support go through this process successfully and get out because you have a support structure and infrastructure in place with accountability. So if you're looking for that support and you want to get done quickly, I'd invite you to apply to work with us from our sponsor today from the Velocity Coaching Program. Again, our goal in this program is to help you within the course of a year or less finish your dissertation. And that's the goal. 2024 is your year. And if you're working on it right now, let's get this thing done in 2024. This does not need to linger over into 2025. And so, now we talked about two of the ways that you can get over the regret of not finishing your dissertation in 2023. The last one, what I want you to consider is that once you identify the barriers, the last thing you need to do is come up with a plan and execute. The difference between people who finish their dissertation and those who do not are people who execute flat out. Because there are sometimes folks who say they're going to do writing and they talk a big game about it. But when it comes to actually doing the work, they have not put that work in. And knowing that you're watching this show and you've maybe watched other previous episodes, I know that you're not that person. So what I want you to do now is think about your plan and then you are going to execute the plan. Because think about it, when you are driving to an unknown destination, right? It's most certainly easier to follow your GPS on your phone or follow a map even than to figure things out along the way, because you can make a wrong turn, end up going in the opposite direction, doing things that were not helpful to the drive and for you to get to your destination. The same thing applies to the dissertation. You need a roadmap to follow so that you don't have to recreate things, don't have to figure things out along the way. And really having that plan is the difference, as I mentioned, between those who finish and those who don't. And this is how you keep yourself accountable. And if you are someone who's like, hey, I need a plan and I haven't really thought to that yet, we have a training that we created called Design Your Done Dissertation. And it is for the purpose of helping you to first develop that plan, because we know sometimes folks just first got to figure out what's the plan in place. And so in this training, it's a multiple phase training that you will experience if you grab this course, is that we're trying to teach you how to put your plan together, and then how to execute the plan and how to get everyone on board that you need as part of your done dissertation team, which we talk about in the training. So if you're someone that is in need of that type of support, you can scan the QR code here that is on your screen, or go to www.designyourdissertation.com. And again, it's www.designyourdissertation.com. And someone could drop the link in for us as well. And so with that said, it's really important to have your plan. Like, if you don't have the plan, it's really hard to make things happen. And this is one of the reasons why I created that training first, because we knew that in order to finish your dissertation, the plan is essential. But the piece that everybody needs after the planning is the execution. And if you've been stuck sitting and haven't been able to get to where you need to go in the time frame you wanted to, and just without all the pain and suffering of what some folks might go through that part of this process, this is why we created our coaching program, because we really want to help people and give them the roadmap to finishing. Because look, we've been able to support now over 100 doctoral students through this journey. And it's amazing to see what happens after folks are able to finish. People are able to ascend into those higher level positions. Folks are able to grab those consulting opportunities. Folks are able to do all sorts of things when they have earned the doctorate. And this is something we want to see you all do and succeed with doing. So if you're someone that needs that help, make sure you go get it. Because one thing I know, having, written my own dissertation and writing journal articles and doing all that stuff for my faculty position, it's hard to create new knowledge. And that takes so much work mentally to really do that and do it well. And so if you've been someone who's been having difficulty managing doing this creation stuff and navigating the process, why not get support, and why not get the help that you need? And this is how we can help support you along the way, because we're going to teach you how to do this work and how to engage in the writing and how to navigate the committee, how to work with your chair. All these hows that sometimes keep you up late at night is what we have literally taken all the guesswork out of through our model and our process. So if you're someone that's looking for that more hands-on support, you know that, hey, I have the skills, but I just need that extra support and push and hands-on guidance with, you definitely need to apply to work with us in our Velocity coaching program. You can scan the QR code here, or you can go to www.velocitydissertation.com. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for watching this week's episode. I wanted to be straight to the point, because this new year, y'all trying to get things done. You got writing to do. So I was like, my goal for today is like, let's keep this to about 15 minutes or less, so that you all can get some quick insights, so that you can apply the strategies that we're talking about. So as a recap, let's remember, our first step in order to get over the regret of not finishing your dissertation in 2023 is to first feel all of the emotions. Then once you feel all the emotions, the second step is that I want you to then identify the barriers that happened to you in 2023 and address them. Whatever those might be, I want you to figure out a way to address them. And then lastly, you're going to come up with your plan and then execute the plan. Once you put all three of these pieces in place, I promise you, you will be on your way to finishing your dissertation quickly. But all it takes is you being able to first do some work on yourself and reflect. Because this is an opportunity to take that time. This new year, you can do all of these great things with your dissertation. You just have to put the work in. And lastly, if you need that support, you want that coaching, you want that help, I just would encourage you to apply to our Velocity coaching program. You can learn more about it by scanning the QR code here on your screen, or you can click down below, or put this link in the chat for someone for me. If you're watching this live, you can go to www.velocitydissertation.com. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this week's episode of From ABD to PhD show. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings. I look forward to seeing you next time on another episode in Let's Go to a Done Dissertation in